our guest on the line. Thanks, Alex, for doing that. Daniel, do you pronounce your last name Debow or Debow, or are neither of those right?
No, the first one, Debow, Daniel Debow.
Daniel Debow, that's exactly what Amber thought it was going to be. Amber, you were right.
I just guessed. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, how you doing, Amber?
Good, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on the show. And I know Sarah has also started to dive into Rypple with Twit, but would love to just kind of hear a little bit more about it in terms of why you started the company. I know you have lots of experience, I should say, in the, I don't know if it's the software industry, but you were one of the people behind WorkBrain. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right. I was one of the co-founders, as my co-CEO was. I ran marketing and business development. He ran sales and strategy. And that was a human capital management company that we grew to a few hundred employees, about 700 people, and worked with some of the biggest companies in the world. And along the way, we learned that there has got to be a better way to help people get more feedback at work than the traditional performance reviews, because they really suck. And everyone has to go through these things, and no one really gets that much out of them. So we thought it seems crazy that, like, in a real-time world where people are constantly connected, that you're going to get feedback once every 6 months or once a year in this very formalistic process. It just didn't match. So that's why we started Rypple, to solve that problem. And it's been great so far. We've been having a great time doing it.
So Daniel, it's Rypple, for anybody who hasn't had a chance to play around with it. I set up an account for some of our Twit employees. I invited some folks. I mean, the process was very simple, very easy, and we began creating some goals, some actions, being able to kind of give each other accolades and comment on various things. And we're kind of trying it out just to see how it works as an infrastructure. But it does definitely give me, it reminds me of some of my management training classes that I've taken for various companies over the years, where there is a certain performance that's expected, and if you state it clearly and someone performs as expected, then they get a reward of some kind. So a lot of this seems to be rooted in traditional, the way that corporations traditionally work, but it's got a nice social element as well.
I think you just hit it. And what we've done is try and work with some really smart people in the leadership, management, coaching space, and in traditional human resources. And it's interesting, like, a lot of them sort of say, yeah, there's nothing else better out there, but what can we do? And that was our challenge. And it was really to take the behaviors that are kind of the things that you guys were talking about, going to the gym, right? If you don't go to the gym, it's going to be really hard to get into shape. And if you don't do the basic things of leading your team and also being a great teammate, like we try to make it non-hierarchical. If you don't do those things, it's going to be hard to keep your team together. And when you have distributed teams, you have teams who are used to using different tools, how could we bring that to a more modern context? So the basic behaviors, they're like just basic hygiene, like make sure you recognize people for doing a good job and don't wait forever for that. So that was how we created our thanks tool that allows people to create custom badges that are fun, use their own language that matters to them, and build reputation for people for a very basic behavior. Make sure you give recognition to people. A second behavior was, if you're a coach or if you're an individual who mentors people, or you're someone who wants to advance your career and stay on track, make sure you have one-on-one sessions with people where you talk about, career, behavior, and also just stuff you have to get done. And what Rypple does is make it really easy to keep that all in one spot and help you keep track of all the people that you're coaching and mentoring, and also as an individual, all the people that you're connected to at work. A third behavior, just ask for feedback every once in a while. And right now, that's a really scary thing to do, because asking for feedback is these heavy-duty 360 review processes, and they cost a lot of money, takes a lot of time, and worst of all, like, the answers show up on your review. So who wants to get somewhere that they really genuinely can do better? And so Rypple's made it really easy for you to just ask a quick question, get a really quick anonymous feedback if you'd like. And the last part is, setting goals and making them social, as opposed to this top-down, heavy-duty thing that, goals are really things that we gather around at work. So goals, getting feedback, one-on-one coaching, recognition, they're basic things that people have known about for a long time, and Rypple brings it to a really fun social context today.
It's really cool. I mean, I'm just looking at your blog, and I'm blown away with all of the content on your blog. It's a really great resource for people who run businesses, or for employees as well, to figure out kind of how to be more involved with the job. One stat that I came across was that 87% of people want to quit because of low performers. I mean, people working around them who are obviously, they don't consider to be at the same level as them. And I thought this was kind of interesting. And I'm curious if you've seen how Rypple has kind of boosted the morale within an organization among a group of people, because people are kind of watching out for other people and, you know, patting them on the back and are invested in their success as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we hear that all the time from our users. Our customers say, hey, this was something that we thought could be, you know, was heavy duty and actually is really fun and makes it more continuous and ongoing, and people are performing better. You know, we have one customer that runs a large call center, and one of the team leads installed it just like you guys did. You know, one manager brought it in. It's a freemium product, so it's free to get started, and everything I've just described is free to use. And pretty quickly, his manager realized, my gosh, why is your team doing so much better? And he's like, it's this Rypple thing. It keeps us on track, and people are getting recognized, and people sort of, it lightens up the atmosphere. But it's also, you know, it's very productive. So pretty quickly that turned into, you know, the entire company rolling out Rypple together. And for us, you know, that's the proof is in the pudding. You know, traditional tools that are brought like this, they're kind of like pushed down on people from the top. And we wanted to build something that was good enough that people would start using it from the bottom up. And that time and time again at our customers, it's usually a manager or a team leader or an individual contributor who brings it in, and they start to see results because people want to use it. And that's when we were able to, you know, turn them into customers, paying customers, where we have premium services and things like that. I'm also glad you mentioned the content, because, you know, for us, it's not just about providing a software tool, but it's actually helping people who are our users learn about the best things that we can do to the best practices. And we bring, you know, speakers and great bloggers together, try and share stats and information so that people can, you know, work better together.
What about socially? I mean, the social nature of some folks is just higher than that of others. I mean, I've definitely worked with, you know, engineers, for example, that barely even ever said hello to me, and then other people who really never shut up. I mean, it's like people work differently, and I can see them using Rypple differently as well. How do you get around those who are more active on Rypple not being, I guess, recognized more by their superiors just because they're louder, if that makes sense? Yeah, sure.
No, it totally makes sense. And I think I should clarify. The whole point of Rypple is not for you to go on and try and be active and post and be you know, like be engaged as if this were just another sort of social tool at work. It's to let you do your job and let the people around you recognize you. And I think it's actually the opposite. The experience that we have is that often people who do great work, that quiet developer perhaps, who's really key to keeping everything going, might not get noticed by management or somebody else, but it's because their coworkers are the ones who give them thanks for saying like, hey, thanks for like setting up the new VPN, like I can get work done at home now, that they get that recognition and it's kept all in one spot. And otherwise it would be lost completely, and when this dreaded review comes around, you know, no one's going to know about the amazing work this person did. But with Rypple, their coworkers get to give them recognition, build their reputation, and help them participate. So it's not about you going off and promoting yourself. It's about the people around you doing a good job and helping you get recognized for the work you do. We think that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And in a small company like, Amber, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
In a small company like Twit, you know, we're all under the same roof, and there's 12 of us who are here full time or something like that. And it's pretty easy to keep track of folks. So we all know what each other are doing. And I know that a big company like Cisco, for example, I know has experimented with Rypple. And that must be completely different because, I mean, think of all the departments and the department heads and various projects that are very separate for a lot of employees. I mean, some of them probably don't even know each other. Do you ever get any, I mean, you're probably not able to look through what people are saying about each other at Cisco, but do you get a lot of feedback back from the bigger companies on what works about Rypple and what could be done differently, so you're able to kind of model the service for the big guys? Totally. So we talk to all our customers. We are, not surprisingly, really into feedback here. And our newest release, Rypple 3, is based heavily on working with hundreds of customers and end users. You know, so one thing that we really pride ourselves is not being driven by the sales cycle and like, oh, someone just wants this feature and they'll give us a contract, but really trying to build this like it's consumer software. So people say, I love it. Well, that means you got to talk to people.
And customers at big companies are helping us to drive and figure out the problems that they need to solve. So in the coming months, we're going to be rolling out better filtering on the feed and allowing for a more sophisticated follow model, so that you're paying attention to the topics, the goals, the recognition that you care about. And at the same time, we've heard from bigger companies, interesting things like make it less hierarchical. And so the big jump when we just moved from version 3 to version 2 was to allow anybody to coach anybody else. Because, smart companies, especially technology, creative, design firms, which are our customers, those companies are moving to a network model where, your influence is driven by your outcomes, your accomplishments, your work, and less by an org chart. So we've tried to build a tool that's like that. That comes from listening directly to customers and talking to them. But you're right, smaller companies have different challenges than bigger companies. And we find that, about 25 employees and up, 25 to 500 to 1,000, that's really when the real value of Rypple starts to kick into place. Not to say that you can't use it with 12 people. It's still lots of fun. But especially when you get to that sort of magic number, and especially when you start having remote employees, you mentioned Cisco. That's people in India and people in North America trying to create the same kind of consistency where you would normally bump into each other in the hallway, but allowing them to connect using a tool like Rypple.
What advice do you have to someone out there who loves the idea of Rypple and would like to see it implemented within their own organization, but maybe they don't necessarily have the authority to get it implemented?
Yeah. Well, I have the first bit of advice is to just try it. I mean, a huge number of our users introduce this thing, and you got to recognize you're not introducing a silly tool. It's not a game. It's a tool that actually helps people work better together and get things done productively. It's as secure as any high-end enterprise security team would want to have. And we've got some very prominent customers who have been, checking our security, and it's consistent with traditional processes. So it can work with an existing performance review. It doesn't have to replace it. Although many customers find out, hey, we're going to do that anyhow. I think the second piece of advice is check out our website. We've got lots of resources there for exactly that problem. Like, how do I explain this to my teammates? How do I explain it to my manager, my boss? And how do I explain it to HR what we're trying to do? But I will tell you that, overwhelmingly, the best proof is, hey, we tried to use it and it started to spread. People wanted to use it. The people in companies that are in HR, they want better solutions. And when you can come and say, hey, we got our team of 40 people using this, and we find that we get better feedback, we feel more connected, and the teams are on track together. Everybody knows where they stand. That's a success story that they're going to want to hear about. So those are my bits of advice. Try it, get some information, get some people engaged around you. I mean, remember, Rypple is a social tool. Just trying it out yourself, you're not really going to see the benefit. You got to get a team of a few people engaged. And that's when we find the magic kind of happens. When we know that there's a team of 5 or 10 people that starts to use it and get engaged on it, very quickly they contact us and say, all right, great, how do we spread this? Because this is a better experience for us at work.
Daniel, you mentioned that Rypple is freemium. There is another tier of Rypple that companies can sign up for. What kind of features do the paid models have?
Sure. Better support. So that's aftermarket. We've got people here who will answer the phones and spend a lot more time making sure that whatever issues you have are addressed. You've got launch support. So just to the prior question, we've got a team of people, of customer coaches who can do kickoffs for your team, really quickly explain what it's all about, and share some best practices. We've got premium analytics and information. So once you start using Rypple, often you find hey, wow, there's a lot of useful information about a talent basically that's in this tool that we want to extract and use in ways that are meaningful for our business. And so we provide tools to do that. Other parts of the premium features that come as you move up are integrating it into your existing IT infrastructure. So some of our customers have baked Rypple right into their internal intranets. It's got single sign-on, and those are premium features that we would charge for. I should say we found that giving away stuff for free is a great way to spread. The move from our last version 2 to 3, we used to charge for the number of connections you could have, number of people you can coach. We don't do that anymore. We also used to charge for building customized badges and creating things that were your own culture. And now we give that away for everyone for free, that you can go in, create a badge, add a meaning to it, share it with people in your company, add tags to it, and then start using it as many as you want. So we're big believers in letting people see the value by trying it, and then selling premium features that are more about how does the corporation extract value from this once everyone's using it.
What about any type of mobile app? Do you have anything in the works for that? Because I just imagine, on the go, if you're busy at the office, it would be great to have something on a smartphone or even an iPad.
Totally. So we had some mobile apps. We had a BlackBerry, we had a iPhone, and you know what? We just took them off because we didn't think they were quite good enough. And we're working right now to relaunch with a new iPhone and a new iPad app, and should be coming out shortly. It's something that we're working on because I think you're right. That is the mobile case. Lots of people have. I mean, the best feedback in the world is not 6 months later. It's in the cab on the way back from a meeting, right after a meeting or something like that. And we want to be able to get someone to be able to give that to you right away. Make sure that's continuous, because that's when people actually learn. Right? Telling me 6 months later doesn't help me get better, but tell me right away and I can do something about it, and we all get better together.
Very cool. Seems like a really great service, and people can check it out at Rypple.com.
Yeah, Rypple.com. It's Rypple with a Y, by the way, Rypple. So I really appreciate you guys having me on, and thanks for all the questions, and I hope people come check it out.
Thanks so much, and you have a great blog, so make sure people check out the blog as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Daniel. Daniel Debow of Rypple.com. That's Rypple.